It's 4:40 a.m. I'm here at the start-finish line. What you can't see behind me are the Blue Mountains. I'm about to run 50 miles over the next 10 hours. Welcome to the North Face Challenge Ontario race.
The day before the race in Blue Mountain Village, things are pretty quiet as everyone got set for the festivities. With 3 locations for race kit pickup, things went smoothly on that front, and everyone got their t-shirt, their buff, and the race numbers with no hassles. Given the early start, 50-mile racers showed up early and had to start with headlamps.
We're underway, ladies and gentlemen. Wave number 1 of the Vortex 50-mile challenge. They are taking to the race course right now. We'll see you back here in another.
The race course covered 3 distinct types of terrain. First were the trails around the escarpment and the ski hills of Blue Mountain Village. Second were single-track trails through the woods and the Bruce Trail. And lastly were some forest and some gravel roads to put it all together overall. First up were the trails around the ski hill, and when the sun finally came up on us, it was a gorgeous sight. There were a couple of aid stations along this section, and countless views of the Georgian Bay and the water that surrounds it. It was nice to keep running as the sun came up to warm us up, and see runners going along having a good time. As the day wore on, it never got too hot, so it was comfortable running along these trails. However, I should point out that on a few cases there were some very steep downhills and uphills to contend with, as you can see here. But luckily, every one of those uphills would usually end with either a beautiful view or would top you out near an aid station where you could refill yourself on food and drinks to keep going for the next section of the race. The second kind of terrain was my favorite, and that were the single-track trails through the forest and including some of the parts of the famous Bruce Trail. The trail never got extremely technical or anything like that, but it did keep you on your toes and gave you some interesting terrain to run through. We also explored some of the ski trails around the scenic caves area, which was flat and fast and easy to run through. As you can see here, the sights with light filtering through the trees was quite beautiful and kept us on our toes as we went. The third and final type of terrain was the one that was a bit more monotonous. As you can see, we started out getting onto some wider trails that eventually led out onto some forest roads that you can see here with the overgrown grass, but sooner or later you ended up in the very exposed, long gravel road sections. These were definitely not my favorite, but an unfortunate necessity to get between the good trails along this course. As you can see, again, there were some long stretches of uphills and downhills to contend with, but as with the ski area, when you got to the top of those hills, generally speaking, there'd be an aid station where you could fill up. As you can see, they were well stocked with everything you needed, and at every aid station it gave you mile markers to let you know the distance to the next checkpoints. As with every race, one of the highlights was crossing under the finishing banner to collect your finisher's medal, and in this case, a finisher's bottle as well. With a lot of different races happening, including a marathon, the 50-miler, and a 50-kilometer race, there were plenty of people coming through. They also had a lot of activities going on at the finish line, like these ice baths for people to recover their legs. And as you can see, the finisher's food was a bit non-traditional, but delicious nonetheless. With huge crowds on hand, the finishing ceremonies literally carried away the winners, which is cool to watch.
Well, as you can see, the awards are still well underway here. That's it for me from this race. If you're looking for a great race in Ontario, I highly recommend you check this one out.